Money should be fun. Shouldn't money be fun? I mean, we should have the Amero. I think we should, as a nation, as Americans, develop the Amero, a digital currency. Like 92% of everything's electronic anyways. 92% of all of our money is electronic. Do you actually have all the paper money in your hands, or is it just some electronic entry at the bank? Now, the Dow Jones is America's moral compass. The Dow Jones is America's moral compass. Only when Dow Jones is nosediving does America get their shit together. Oh, fuck. We got homeless and poverty, police brutality, war, on, and yet it's only when the Dow Jones is nosediving, then we're like, oh my God, we need to spend trillions. JFK's 1963 silver certificates. This was an issuance of currency. Silver certificates were actually U.S. notes. They were paper money, legal tender. They weren't a bank note. They weren't a Federal Reserve note. They were cash money, a U.S. note, national currency. It looked like today's greenback jack with only a silver glimmer. So it was a U.S. note. The 1963 silver certificates, and possibly a reason why JFK got killed, because he was going to take the power away from the Fed and give it to the Treasury, because the U.S. note, the silver certificates, was going to be distributed by the U.S. Treasury and not the Federal Reserve banks. And the JFK 1963 silver certificates was issued debt and interest free. The Federal Reserve note is not debt and interest free. How come we as Americans, as the captains of industry, the leaders of capitalism, the premier capitalist city on the hill, who's thrown our own citizens in jail over communism, who assassinated foreign presidents because of communism? This is such a capitalist nation. How come we don't trade with silver and gold coins? How come we don't see flea markets up everywhere and farmers markets up everywhere? If we're truly capitalist, then we should have marketplaces and trade in silver and gold coins and cryptocurrency. Of course, all these things should be a part of our economic system. How come we don't trade with silver and gold coins? That's part of our Constitution. The Constitution says you got to pay your debt in silver and gold. How come more Americans aren't educated about economics in general, and specifically our economic system, our very, very complicated economic system? So Federal Reserve notes seem like they're bank notes, possibly currency. U.S. dollar, it's backed by the assets of the Federal Reserve banks. So the 10% that's set off to the side, that serves as collateral. The assets of the Federal Reserve banks are generally Treasury securities. So the Federal Reserve, they invest, right? They invest in the stock market. They take your money, they pass out loans, they buy a bunch of Treasury securities. The Dow Jones is America's moral compass. These $6 trillion, $6 trillion. This Wall Street bailout, this $6 trillion Wall Street bailout helps the establishment take over our money supply. I guess it's just our money supply. It's just our money supply. So to me, it's obvious with anybody with a lick of common sense. When it comes to government, cryptocurrency, it's coming. It's on its way. Sherrod Brown and Maxine Waters, two politicians in America, they had suggested that America get a digital currency. They also suggested that every American get a Federal Reserve bank account. Member banks would have to bear the burden of the cost of these accounts. So every American get a Federal Reserve account? That would be sweet as fuck. I think that'd be cool. That'd be exciting. 1% in America own 2/3 of all the stock in that there is to be owned. 1%. So who's gambling on Wall Street? The 1%. And, maybe a smattering here and there. They dabble in a little bit. But the 1% are the ones that, really get into the ebb and flow and sell millions and buy millions and then sink, dump stocks before the coronavirus hits. several states, several governments, several countries, China, Japan, and Sweden are working on their own cryptocurrencies. Venezuela actually has their own cryptocurrency, the Petro. They developed it in February 2018, so it's 2 years old. The Petro is as old as Jerome Powell has been the federal chair. He's been in there for 2 years, and Venezuela's had the Petro for 2 years. It's a cryptocurrency, the Petro is, that the state government, Maduro, had created. Max Kaiser expressed his support, but the U.S. embargo on Venezuela has hurt the Petro. Clever name, especially since the U.S. empire is fueled by the petrodollar. So, you know, give me fuel, give me fire, give me Venezuela's Petro cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is worth $121 billion. So apparently somebody thinks that Bitcoin is worth something. $121 billion is how much Bitcoin is worth. So the question isn't if, it's when and how. When is America going to get into the digital currency market? When is America going to get the Amero or some equivalent? I think the America, it's just a good name. The Amero. I mean, right now you got Monero and Canero and a bunch of these other, they got cool-ass names, Amero. So Venezuela's already dove into it. China's looking into it. Japan and Sweden are looking into it. It's inevitable. And when and how, I mean, America, I think, just take a swing at it. The people that first try it, you're going to fail. But take a swing at it, just tie it to 1% of the dollar. It'll fucking take off like wildfire. It'll be a great success. And then buy Bitcoin out, buy those other companies out that have like really good secure sort of things that, they're working on. So the internet, it's a pretty big fucking deal. The future is here. The future is now. We're in a postmodern generation. So modern monetary theory, they're actually, one generation behind. We're postmodern monetary theory here. The internet's going to forever alter everything. 92% of all the world's money already exists in digital form. If you think about in America, right, you got greenbacks, you got paper money, but you also got credit cards and debit cards and gift cards and, checks and this and that and whatever. So you can scan the thing now. There's a whole bunch of ways. A lot of this it's already electronic. Think about the money that's in the bank. That's electronic. It's just an account, just something punched into, the computer. You're just a unit, just a tiny little block on a spreadsheet. So the money, the deposits, called demand deposits, that's just, electronic money. The credit cards are electronic money. 92% of the world's money already is in, digital form. So if our future, which history seems to be marching, progressively towards a progressive future, black people got the right to vote, women got the right to vote. It seems like we're going in the correct direction overall. So if our future is a progressive future, which is in doubt, but let's assume for the sake of argument that America or the world or humans were dedicated towards progress, then just like how marijuana, the legalization of marijuana was inevitable, that's just how inevitable a state government-sponsored digital currency is going to be. That's how inevitable. It's just obvious. Anybody who's got, eyeballs, anybody who can just look around the world and say, okay, this is what's going on. YouTube is definitely a rival to TV. I haven't watched TV in years. So it's obvious. Internet TV is going to, forever alter the viewing, watching of the public. Internet TV is going to compete with broadcast TV. So Bitcoin rivals state government fiat currency right now. Right now. Both are free-floating fiat currencies. Both Bitcoin and state government are fiat. Nothing backs them. You can't get, Bitcoin. There is cannabis coin. It's tied. One cannabis coin gets you 1 gram of marijuana. But Bitcoin's not tied to gold, not tied to the dollar. It's not tied to shit. It's not pegged down. They're free-floating. which is actually better economics, right? So they're both fiat, they're both free-floating. Bitcoin has all three fundamentals of money, the functions of money. The necessary functions is it must have a store of value, a unit of account, and a medium of exchange. A unit of account, it has to have a consistent standard. Check. Store of value, meaning it has to have value that will be retained. It has to have purchasing power. So for the people that think that it's money and they buy stuff with it, apparently there is value, and then you can use it later on. So it's been working. It has a store of value. It's a unit of account because it's consistent, standard. 1 Bitcoin equals the same, and it's a medium of exchange. People are trading Bitcoins, you know, for money and goods, and that's all it needs. Bitcoin is money. It has all three functions of money. End of story, it's money. Now, you need confidence, and how do you get confidence? The best way, I feel like, is get government sponsorship. Get some government to buy Bitcoin out or buy some other cryptocurrency or to develop their own stuff. But you got to be, you know, ahead of the curve. You got to, you know, do it sound. It's got to be sound, and it's got to be secure. But it also has to work, too, so it's got to make sense, economic sense. So the only thing I feel like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency does not have is government sponsorship. Government sponsorship of a nation that's, you know, not being fucked with by the empire. For some reason, the empire just set on sabotaging poor old Venezuela. They got the Petro, and I bet you the Petro is doing pretty good inside of Venezuela. And, you know, perhaps other people are risking pissing off the premier, you know, Wall Street. If there's anybody that knows capitalism, right, it's America. If there's anybody that bleeds greed and selfishness, it is America. So, paper money for America, that seemed obvious to Abraham Lincoln in 1861 and 1862. We didn't always have paper money, because we had to pay everything with silver and gold. So in 1861, Lincoln was like, I'm not going to borrow money, I'm just going to print up some paper. Here, this is the American currency. And then eventually money comes back in 1914 with the Federal Reserve notes. And then back in FDR's time, the great gold heist of 1933, FDR, he thought taking everybody's gold in America seemed, you know, obvious. To him, you got to back the Federal Reserve note. So you got to peg it, you got to fix it to something that's, you know, a solid, consistent, precious metal. Your gold, you got to tie the fucking gold, okay? And then Nixon in 1971, it seemed obvious to him to take us off the gold standard. And we're progressing, we're moving forward, right? We were suspicious of paper money, rightfully so. And then we got, you know, we were suspicious of a central bank, rightfully so. We backed our money up with gold. For 40 years, gold and the American dollar were, you know, in tandem with one another. America, I think, owned 2/3 of the world's gold. So when you talked about the dollar, you talked about gold for 40 years. And then Nixon, you know, he had a bunch of inflation, so he was like, well, shit, let's try this. Let's just get off the gold standard. So now the American dollar is just backed by itself. And what did the naysayers, what were they saying back then to Abraham Lincoln and FDR and Nixon? Every one of those were progressive. But the naysayers, what were they saying? They were saying nay, just like they always do. The next logical progression for money is cryptocurrency. Government-sponsored. Either the U.S. government can jump into the fray now, make the mistakes, and be ahead of the curve, or we could wait forever. The Fed said they considered it, but it's not on the table. They're not doing anything right now with it. So the Amero would kick ass and take names. We could wait for Bitcoin or Potcoin or Canada or China or whoever to come up with the digital currency that revolutionizes money all across the world until they take it over the whole thing. But it's coming. It's definitely on its way. You know, just like all those things, just like paper money, just like the gold standard, taking it off the gold standard, just like all those, just like legal marijuana. It's just obvious. Just look, America, we progress forward. And I live in Colorado, so actually legal marijuana, it's already here. Paradise is already here. So I got heaven on earth, for sure. And cryptocurrency actually helped marijuana get legalized. Now, Peter Schiff is a dinosaur who's in favor of going back to the gold standard. He asked, what advantage do we have with Bitcoin over state government fiat currency? What advantage do we have? Well, the U.S. dollar and the other currency, they're on the global trading marketplace, but they're all manipulating their currencies. All of Europe, the UK, the Bank of England, Canada, the United States, the Federal Reserve with quantitative easing. That's cheating. We are cheating. It's bad economics. So let's be honest, the U.S. dollar is just fiat by decree, by edict, because the government says so, by command of the ruling aristocracy and the bourgeoisie, the plutocrats. But the value of Bitcoin comes solely from its desirability in the free marketplace, and that's it. And isn't that the whole point of the free market? That's a major advantage. Bitcoin is winning because people want to get in on the Bitcoin game. So Bitcoin actually wins on its own merits in the stock market. In the stock market, not cheating like all these governments are doing with quantitative easing. So if the electric or the internet gets cut out, then your Bitcoin is gone and worthless, and that's a disadvantage. At least until the electric or internet goes back up. So Bitcoin is an electronic point in the internet system. It's an entry on a spreadsheet ledger. It's a file on a computer. And blockchains are inherently resistant to modification of data. It's an open distributed ledger that can record transactions between two parties efficiently and in a verifiable and permanent way. For use as a distributed ledger, a blockchain is typically managed by a peer-to-peer network collectively adhering to a protocol for validating new blocks. Once recorded, the data in any given block cannot be altered retroactively without the alteration of all subsequent blocks, which requires collusion of the network majority. Blockchains are secure by design and are an example of a distributed computing system with high Byzantine fault tolerance. To prevent double spending, Bitcoin implemented a solution in early 2009. Its cryptographic protocol used a proof-of-work consensus mechanism where transactions are batched into blocks and chained together using a linked list of hash pointers. So Bitcoin's been around for 10 fucking years. Bitcoin's got their shit together. So cryptocurrency is money. At the very least, it's worth something to some people. What, it's $6,000 for one Bitcoin? You can buy one Bitcoin for $6,000, so it's not even transferable. You have to get a 1/1000th of a fucking Bitcoin. Then you got to spend hours to mine it or something. I'm not for sure 100%, but I got some of the large strokes. So technically, I'm not an economist. I'm not for sure if cryptocurrency is worth a continental. Not without official government sponsorship. Paper money says that the government is going to back with the U.S. dollar, with the Federal Reserve note, when it gets distributed out of the Federal Reserve banks. So you got $500 billion they're printing out for Wall Street, and all those checks for us. So they're going to print all that money out, and they're going to give out, a bunch of checks and unemployment and just trillions of dollars, trillion here, trillion there, trillion everywhere. And they're going to say it's real money because they're the government. And when the Federal Reserve banks finally get the money out to the people, when they go ahead and, add it to your bank account and then give you this fake, funny money, monopoly, quantitative easing money, it's still money because it's got official government sponsorship. They can't get away with that. They can't do that too many times. Maybe once or twice. We've already done it 3 times, maybe 4 or 5, 6 times. We're going to do it now. We got to stop this shit. America is addicted to quantitative easing, and America got a problem. You're addicted, okay? You need to get to rehab, America. You're addicted to free fucking money. Your representatives are going hog wild, and most of the money isn't even going to you. You got your $1,000, but you didn't get the $5,000. Everybody could have got $5,000 with $6 trillion. So where did the $5,000 go? You got $1,000, right? So you only got like a small percentage of the total package deal. You got, a pittance. It'll help you for a month or two. But overall, They got the whole fucking financial system. They got the money supply. They got the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar. Wasn't it Rothschild? They said something, I care not. If I can control the money supply, I care not who makes the laws. So who's in control? Thomas Massie, a congressman out of Kentucky, says the Fed is in control. Look how much money they just got themselves. So money should be fun. Money should be fun. We should be, there should be silver certificates. There's JFK. There's sleek, cool-ass silver dollars. JFK's Executive Order 111110. Those are sweet. Those are cool-looking fucking dollars. Let's make our dollars fucking cool as shit. Let's get some holograms on their dollars. Let's get some watermarks. Let's get some security measures. Let's get a bunch of security measures. There's like metallurgic ink. There's a lot of fancy shit out there that's for dollar bills. Let's spend some fucking money on our fucking money, since the value of it is only of itself. So if somebody starts counterfeiting this shit, then our money ain't going to be worth shit. That's how they sunk the Continental. Fucking Britain sunk the Continental with counterfeit dollars. But we haven't changed our dollar bill for like 50 years. The Constitution says that state debts to the federal government has to be paid in silver and gold. Nothing else. You can't use reserve notes, not from the Federal Reserve notes or bank notes or demand notes, no commercial paper, not treasury securities, not gold certificates, not mortgage-backed securities, not treasury securities, not bills of credit, not the pound, not the franc, not the gold, not the yen, not the mark, not the euro, not the Canadian dollar, but silver and gold. Not even the U.S. dollar. No paper money, just silver and gold. So Georgia, Florida, Texas, Alaska, Washington, California, pay your debts in silver and gold. Jesus Christ. Can't you follow the goddamn Constitution? Back in the good old days when men were men and the Christian God was taken out of the public schools and god-awful prayer was taken out too. And then when those words that were thoughtfully scribbled out on that scrap of hemp paper parchment called the Constitution actually fucking mattered, for Christ's sake. Remember those good old days when the Constitution actually fucking mattered? Bitcoin is money. It has all three functions. It's a unit of account, medium of exchange, and also the other, store of value. It's got all three functions. It's, it's got confidence. It's trustworthy. It seems to be pretty solid. A lot of people, there's mining. I don't know what the mining is. Do you have to have special knowledge or skills just to use Bitcoin? Can anybody mine Bitcoin and make money by mining? So it's got all the three functions of money, but it does seem to be a little complicated. I don't know. I'm not so sure, but I know that if America comes out with the Amero, then Bitcoin is fucked. Don't invest in Bitcoin because the Amero would kick Bitcoin's ass. Bitcoin is a fiat currency. It's not a commodity currency. There's no tangible use for Bitcoin. It's just a file on the computer. It's just a little, data entry point on a spreadsheet. It's literally only a medium of exchange. It's literally an invisible medium of exchange. It's wampum. It's a free-floating fiat currency, just like the Federal Reserve note is. The exact same, except for one's government-sponsored. Bitcoin has to run their accounts through a bank, so that means all their transactions are actually recorded by a bank, so some of the criticisms of Bitcoin don't make sense. Cryptocurrency's main philosophy is that the individual is king, the individual is sovereign. The allure of Bitcoin being decentralized is that any two people in the world can make any deal in the world without anybody in between. No intermediaries, no middlemen, just two people making whatever agreement, whatever deal they think is best. Bitcoin's infrastructure costs money. You need semiconductor technology, hardware, and live internet connection. It's not tangible. So there are some downsides to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general. But overall, government-sponsored cryptocurrency is here, and it's coming. Venezuela's already done it. So, they might actually, 2 years, they've already got a 2-year head start. China, Sweden, whatever other country. So first doesn't always win. MySpace was first. Now MySpace is dead and gone. And Facebook has what? Instagram, and they got WhatsApp, so Facebook is just developing their own competitors. Well, you got TikTok and Twitter and what's that? Faces or Minds or something. So Facebook was an organic improvement to MySpace, just like the paper money of Abraham Lincoln and the gold standard of FDR and Nixon, freeing us from the gold standard. So Bitcoin may not be the best cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency is certainly coming to a government near you. Bitcoin, the top 5 rated cryptocurrencies compared to Bitcoin, or other, okay, so Bitcoin is one, Ethereum, Cardano, so the Amaro would kick the Cardano's ass, the Monero would kick the Monero's ass. People just would, you know what, I don't even want to buy that damn Monero, it's too confusing. So Cardano, Monero, Ethereum, CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap is actually a cryptocurrency that beat Bitcoin in gains this past week. CoinMarketCap actually gained 5%. Monero is doing good. They got 6% gains yesterday. And John McAfee of McAfee Security, he named Monero his cryptocurrency of choice. So just because Bitcoin was first, they got a lot of competition. They're going to have to fight. Because if you're not first, you're last. So they were the first ones to start. But Facebook, wiped MySpace out. Napster, and then what was the Kazaa, Napster, I don't know. So the Model T, John McAfee of McAfee Security, he goes, was the Model T the future of the automobile? The Model T was the first automobile. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. But the Model T, not everybody's driving the Model T. That piece of shit car, it would actually it'd be cool as like a retro sort of, hipster kind of way. But nobody drives a fucking Model T. Nobody drives a Model T. The future of the automobile was not the first design. Lastly, John D. Rockefeller, he said, the way to make money is to buy when blood is running in the streets. So I'm John Masters. It's 2:56, April 5th, 2020, Sunday, Southern Colorado. Peace.